And welcome to the Sit Down with Suzanne podcast. I am your host, Suzanne, and who am I? I am a author, a life coach, a minister, a motivational speaker, and a leader with over 20 odd years of experience leading multi-million dollar corporations. And I am here for your listening pleasure. For all my first-time listeners, welcome to the show. Stick around. I promise there's something for you. And for all my returning listeners, I thank you. I thank you for every listen, every like, every download, every share, every subscription. I thank you. I thank you. I thank you. So this episode, I am going to be talking about beyond the statement in social media posts. Listen, this is not a political podcast by any stretch of the imagination, but what I am, it's a podcast that deals with empathy. What I am is a podcast that deals with positivity. What I am is podcast that is focused on educating others. What I am is, when I hear things that are important to me, things that are relevant, things that folks are talking about, I'm going to talk about it because sometimes folks are not educated about stuff. And I am by no stretch an expert except at being fabulous. Hello. No, but in many things, but I have my experience, I have my thoughts, I have the things that I've gone through. And if my experience could help somebody navigate a particular journey, I am happy to share because I want to make sure that we get to a place, and sadly it won't be in my lifetime, but we'll get to a place where we are not judged based on the color of our skin, no matter what your skin is. We're not judged on our race, our culture. We're just able to walk into a room and just be who we are. And if somebody doesn't like you, they don't like you because you're a bad person or you have bad character traits, but it's not because of the color of your skin, your culture, or anything else. So this episode is going to be titled Beyond the Statement and Social Media Posts. Y'all know it was coming. I have to talk about it, right? Over the past couple of months, there has been a plethora of companies issuing multiple statements, right? They support Black Lives Matter in the height of everything last year with George Floyd and Breonna Taylor and all these things. A lot of companies put out, they support Black Lives Matters. A lot of them did the Blackout Tuesday. They write statements. And most recently this month, as everyone is celebrating Pride, a lot of companies are celebrating. They have the rainbow flags. They're putting statement, love is love, love wins, and all their colors are in the rainbow flag and all that. So, Black Lives Matters and Pride. So those are the two biggest things that corporations are supporting these days. And it's good, right? They use the blackout, they use the flag, all of that. And while I think that it is great that companies are coming out to support equality, this is my questions to them. Are they truly in support, or are they capitalizing on something and commercializing it so that A, they could make a buck, and B, they won't be called out for missing the mark? Now, I see a lot of this happening because I see a lot of companies with the rainbow flag and they are not doing anything to support gay rights. I see a lot of people who have, the hashtag Black Lives Matter, and they're not supported to doing anything to support equality amongst Black folks. They're not doing anything to end systemic racism right there in their own organization. So they have commercialized this thing. It's the thing with Juneteenth, but I have to do another episode to talk about Juneteenth and why it's only a start and it's not the end. So that's another episode. I know I tried to stay away from politics, but I can't. But anyway. So what I think these companies have truly done is just jump on the bandwagon because they don't want to be called out. And they have not done nothing in the name of equality or justice. They have done nothing beyond the statement and the post. They're on social media and that's it. Like the statement came out, that's it. They're like, okay, we've done enough. I don't have to do anything else. It's like you're having a cookout, right? And you invite everybody to the cookout and you put the grill out, but you ain't buy no food, you ain't you have no music, you don't have any fruits, any chips, no nothing. You don't even ask somebody to man the grill. That is not a cookout. So same thing I'm saying to these organizations, these corporations, these companies, and I know that I do have a few people from different organizations that listen to the podcast, and I thank you. I appreciate you listening. But have you just done that? Is this an empty cookout? Is this a grill with no food? Your post, is there any actual solid ground behind these things, right? What are we doing beyond the statement and the post? Another thing that I've seen in almost every company since this whole Black Lives Matter and this whole race relations and accountability things happen, and everyone has a post for hiring a diversity officer. All right. It's progress, right? But here's the thing. Are there truly a position for a diversity officer? Is this position real, or is this person just a figurehead? Like, what are they doing? I've spoken to a few people that have taken up the position of diversity officers, because I do have a few people that have been employed recently. Their roles have changed and being reclassified as diversity officers. And these were the top 3 responses that I got. And these are some diversity officers in top corporations working for in government and working for multi-million-dollar corporations. And these were the top 3 answers. They say that they are expected to handle everything that's Black, whether it's related to diversity or human resource. If it's a Black question, it's thrown at them. So it doesn't fall under the purview of diversity. So they do not have any clarity on what their role are. So they're just a figurehead. The second answer, what I got the most of, is like they have very limited resources or partnership, and they feel like they're on an island. So again, they're not given any resources. Yes, you're put in this position and you're like, okay, do this, but you're not given any resources to actually make an impact, to actually do anything. You don't have the support or the partnership of anyone else in any other department. And the third thing is, they are the go-to person for all things Black. It's all of a sudden they are the diversity officer. So if it's Black, I should know. I should be the one that express how, I feel about the continuing disregard for anything happening about Breonna Taylor. I should be the one that talks about Derek Chauvin, who killed George Floyd, the defacing of the George Floyd, Juneteenth, everything. And those are big things. And yes, you absolutely should be able to speak, but it just doesn't matter. If braids are in for Black folks, what does this mean? And all of this. So they have just become the go-to person. Okay, diversity is not just Black. Diversity is inclusive, and it entails everything that is different, like older folks, female, Asians, Black, like everything. Gay, gay people, the LGBTQ community. So it involves everyone and is inclusive of everyone. But I have found that a lot of these diversity positions that are out there are primarily to deal with Blacks. And okay, sure, you would say that's a good thing, but then they're not given any power. They are just figureheads because they want to fill a quota. At that point, it's better you don't do anything, because it's like giving somebody something and taking it away. Like, what is the point? It's like giving somebody a husk of a car and not an actual car. So it's just going to sit in the driveway. I will say this. One of the persons that I did speak to, they did say that they feel like they will be able to make an impact. They do feel like they'll be able to network, because they felt like a lot of their colleagues were open to the idea of change. They didn't quite understand how it was going to come about. They knew that it would be an uphill battle, because they're still playing on a traditional playing field, and that traditional playing field is middle-aged white men. Let's be real. They are the one in positions of power. And they've let white women into that playing field now, but like try getting, Black folks in there, and other diverse groups. So this is the one person that had said that, and it was just really eye-opening to me, though. So I really would love for you to, if you have the opportunities, my viewers, my listeners, to chat with somebody who has recently taken on a role of a diversity officer and ask them what is it that they do. A couple of things I am going to ask you: if you are applying for a diversity position, you see a diversity position and you decide, okay, You need to make sure that there is clarity around the role. You need to find out exactly what it is and not just what they put on the LinkedIn job thing. We need this and collaborative, but what does collaborate mean to you? Network. What does network mean? Resources. What resources am I going to have? You have to make them clarify the role when you are planning on taking the job, if you decide to take the job. What are the resources that you have? Who are you able to network with? Who are you able to partner with? Who is the go-to person for this? And, things like that. Set these diversity officers up for success, because if you put them into position, they don't have any support, they don't have any resources, they're going to fail, and you're going to say, this is why we didn't do diversity, because it doesn't work. It doesn't work because you're not working it. So if you are going after a diversity position, I'm going to encourage you to have the conversation, to let them be very, very clear about what it entails. Okay. So get that clarified before you sign on to something. And it was just so eye-opening to me after I spoke to several of these diversity officers, and they told me, just basically they're figureheads. I'm not knocking companies, all right? So I want you to think that I do truly want to support companies that want to make a change. And there's a lot of companies that do want to. They may not understand how. So speak to experts, hire experts, speak to people who have done it in the past, speak to companies that are doing well. I found out, I could do the research, you do the research, companies that are doing well with diversity, and reach out to them and ask them. And when they do these polls, sometimes like companies that are top in diversities, who do they poll really? Because sometimes you'll see a company is like, really? I tried to walk through that door and no. So if you truly want to make an impact as an organization, you really have to figure out how diversity is going to work. And when you decide that you're going to focus on diversity, you actually have to mean it. You have to stop commercializing the pain of so many people and actually make changes. So as an organization, here are a couple of things that you can do. You have to look at your board of directors. Who is it reflective of? Who is on your board? Is everybody on your board just like you, has the same views of you, and does not deviate, has had the same life experiences? Look at your C-suite. Who's in your C-suite? The people with real power, the people that is able to affect and implement change. Who are those people? So that, number one, look at that, your board and your C-suite. All right. Number two, look at the who's in key roles in your company. People who are responsible for HR, people who are responsible for recruiting, for strategizing, for training, for development, for onboarding. Look at these people that are in key roles in your company. Number three, look at, and this is big, and this is something that I put in there for me, and it wasn't even something that based on research that I found. Look at your past 3 months of hires. All right. You say you want diversity, but if you look at the last 3 months of your hire, it's going to tell you if everybody is this cookie cutter person, whether it's one way or the other, that's not diversity. So either you're hiring the same as before, or now you decide, let me hire this particular group, and they're all that particular group. So you really want to check out like your last 3 months of hiring. And then once you have done that, once you have checked out your last 3 months of hiring, could go a little further. Here's another thing. Is there a strategic plan in place for you to work with the diversity officer that you have now hired? And if you don't have a diversity officer, is there a plan in place to ensure that minorities, people that are not represented in your organization, are given a chance to advance at the same pace as others? Not asking that they're given preference over, but are they given the same opportunities. You can't give one person a car and one person a bicycle and says, get to New York in the same amount of time. You drive this car, you ride this motorcycle, it's snowing, and all of these things. So just got to make sure that the playing field is level and it's equal. And the number 5 thing that I want you to do, define diversity for you. You don't even have to tell anybody. What do you think diversity is? And see if your team reflects what you think it is. And you really do have to examine it. So if you define diversity, because diversity could be like, there's one woman on the team. Hey, we're good. There's one Black person on the team. Hey, we're good. There's one person from the gay community on the team. Hey, we're good. So that could be, but really research, listen to experts and find out what diversity is. Then truly define diversity and see if your team is reflective of it. And if it's not, what's your strategy to ensure that they reflect that? So those are the 5 things. Look at your board and your C-suite. Look at the people in key roles. Look at the past 3 months of hires. Look at, the diversity officer and the strategic plan that you have going forward to work with them to ensure that they are set up for success, and make sure that you have a strategy in place to ensure that minorities are given a chance to advance at the same pace as others in the company. And then define diversity and see if your team reflects it. If it doesn't reflect it, do what you can to ensure it. Those are the 5 things that I'm asking. And I think that is a solid start if you want to go forward. I am very, very passionate about diversity. As a Black woman, as a strong Black woman, I feel that sometimes I am the go-to person for folks about all things Black. And, while I will gladly speak on things and educate others about a topic, I am also learning, because I realize, and, I shouldn't say I realize, I could only see things through my experiences and the experiences of those that are in my circle, that are around me. And yes, I have seen, I can see celebrities, I can see athletes, I could see what's happening to the George Floyds and the Breonna Taylors and things like that. And I could see things that are happening, but the experience of being a person of color is so wide and diverse, and I cannot be the expert on no one Black person, because every person have a different life, a different circumstances. So one person cannot speak to the whole race. So I can only see it. The only person that I could be very 100% authentic about the Black experiences through my experience, and it's different from everybody else. There are things that are easier for me that are not easier for others. The fact that I'm a Black woman, it definitely is difficult. The fact that I'm female is difficult. The fact that I'm from a different country. And, I don't know how many times people point out to me that I am very articulate. And somebody said it's something to me the other day, maybe I should look at it differently. But I feel like a lot of times when folks says to me, like, you're very articulate, it's like they're surprised by it, that they expect me not to be articulate. Because I'm from Jamaica, they expect I don't have an accent. And yes, and sometimes I get judged by it. Sometimes you hear my accent comes out. Sometimes people's like, why don't you have an accent? Sometimes they expect a deep accent. Yeah, get me angry, my accent will come out. So, it's like, I feel that they're different. Things are different for me sometimes. Sometimes I'll have a conversation with folks over the phone, and when they see me, they'll be like, they're very shocked. And I think one of the best experiences I have had, or I don't even want to say it's the best, or I just thought it was hilarious at the time. I remember I was a district manager for Lane Bryant at the time, and we would have these conference calls, because at that time there was no Zoom, right? If Zoom was around, I wasn't a part of it, because I don't think we did it. And there was this guy, he was the regional marketing manager for Lane Bryant. And I was the district manager, and we had tons of conference call, and he was coming to my market. And I remember him meeting me in Providence. And for some reason, I think he took the train. He did not fly up. I'm not sure why. So he took the train up, and we have had multiple conversations on the phone, and this is just the way I conversed with him. And I will say that he was quite fabulously gay and very proud of it. And I remember like picking him up and at Providence, the train station. And I remember I had on a red coat and we were on the phone and we're talking. And he was like, I can't see you. I can't see you. I can't see you. And I was like, okay, dude, where are you? Like, I can't see you. And then finally, I'm like, I'm standing here with the phone. I'm like in a red coat. So he turns around and he sees me and he was like, you're black? And it was just, oh my God, I cracked up. I was like, okay, so I don't know. I don't know. I mean, listen, I have never doubted that I am black, but it was just like, and I wasn't offended by it. So folks are probably listening, it's like, you should have been offended. I just wasn't, because he was just so genuine about it. I'd had these conversations with him. I mean, I don't know what he expected or whatever, but it was just like, and you know, we became great colleagues. But it was just funny. And I've had that experience, you know, in the past where I've had conversations with folks and then they meet me and like you could see the jaw drop. And I'm like, okay, I'm not saying we don't talk a certain way and have our own special code and ebonics and all of that, but Black folks are quite intelligent and Black folks are quite articulate and they speak well. So stop being surprised when a Black woman or a Black person speaks well. So that's just one thing for me that just completely, like, it just is so up there for me. It's one of those things that I just get frustrated about sometimes. Like, folks are surprised that I speak well. But anyway, I digress. Let's move on, right? So I cannot be the expert for all things Black because my experience is different from, you know, that of others. I'm not challenged about speaking up for myself and speaking up for others. And some folks have that, you know, an opportunity because they're an introvert, they don't speak up and, you know, things like that. So my experience is certainly different. We're not small by any stretch of the imagination. And I feel that, like I said, people expect all Black experiences to be the same. And, you know, it's kind of like when Barack Obama was president. And I feel like people were like, well, Barack Obama is president, so all things should be like good for Black folks. No, honey. Plus, remember, the Republicans run the Senate at that time and they blocked everything. I mean, they would not even hear him on a Supreme Court pick. I mean, come on. They stalled. Anyway, let me not get started on that. So, and you know, one of the things I also find that I think that Black folks right now, a lot of them cannot speak up because they feel that they'll be judged differently if they share their opinion. I mean, honestly, I'm very open and I'm very honest about the things that I share. And I'm pretty sure that not everybody that is in my circle is comfortable with some of the things because it makes them think, right? And they feel that I'm judging them. I'm not judging you, but I'm asking you to examine yourself. I'm asking you to look at the man in the mirror. Like Michael Jackson said, I'm looking at the man in the mirror because it's something that I frequently do to ensure that I am being the best that I can be because I want to be better. I am a child of God. So the first thing I do is to make sure that before, and all my saved folks and all my Christian folks and my Bible scholars will get this. Before I pick the beam out of my brother's eyes, I'm going to make sure that the beam is out of my eyes. All right. I'm not going to tell you where to find that. Y'all better go search your scriptures to find that. So I do know that I have the luxury of speaking up for myself and speaking up for others. Many folks can't do that because they're afraid they'll lose their job. And that is very important. Your job is not your source, but your job does feed and support your family. This is not a worry of mine. I'm not worried that if I speak up, I'm going to lose my job. I genuinely don't feel that. I do feel that, though, that if I speak up, that certain people, in my professional life will be very uncomfortable. I do feel that if I speak up about certain things that I could be overlooked for a promotion down the road. And, you know, honestly, people would probably prefer if I stay silent, but I don't preach hate. I speak to the things that are important to me. And I think it's too important to stay silent. Our ancestors gave their lives, their blood, their sweat, and their tears. For me to not speak up about something, I am raising warriors. I have two warriors that I'm raising that I want them to understand how important it is to not only stand up for themselves, but it's important for them to stand up for others. It's a good thing this is just a podcast and not a video, because you should see my expression and my hands are all over the place. So luckily I'm not recording this one, all right? But I want the two warriors that I am raising to see, all right? There are too many peoples out there in the fight. And then there's so many people that I can't mention, but there's just a couple I do have to highlight. Shaun King. He's consistently out there. And, I love the fact that he stands up for everyone, and he fights. And I know he comes under a lot of attack and a lot of hatred, but I do stand for Shaun King. Tamika Mallory, she is also somebody that I stand up for and, support, because I think she's out there doing things that I can't do. She is in the fight, beaten and bloody. And, she shared something the other day that somebody posted and just wished her all sorts of evil and just basically death and violence. I mean, the things that these people have to go through, so I do give salute to Shaun King and Tamika Mallory. Follow them. I promise you that it's important for we to support people that are out there in the fight. And I do have to mention my girl, Angela Rye. Love her. I mean, Lord, when this girl gives you a put down, like, yeah, wow, like, yeah, she comes with the facts and the receipt. And talk about a sister that is just drop dead gorgeous, that is just phenomenal, intelligent, just everything about her that just says Black Queen. And you could take her from the White House and she'd be in her element, and you could take her to the club and she'll be in her element. Like, she is just versatile and phenomenal. So I do love her. So I think that my small part in speaking up, it's not on a big scale as theirs, but if I can help somebody, if I could even make a dent, a small difference to somebody that's in my circle or somebody who's far away, because I did an episode where I talked about all the different countries that people listen to my podcast, then I absolutely know that I've done my part. So one step at a time. So I don't have as big a reach as them, but if listening to the podcast can help you change your mind about something, then I am happy for this. So if one person from an organization listening to this podcast will step up, then I will feel good. And I don't even have to know about it, but just step up and do something. But anyway, back to the title of this podcast, right? Beyond the statement and the social media posts. What have you done beyond the statements and the social media posts? It's been too long. Y'all did the post last year. I am so tired of seeing the post about equality. I'm so tired of seeing your screen change to black. I am so tired of seeing the rainbow flag, and nothing happening. So don't get it twisted. It's not about seeing the thing about equality, the black flag and the rainbow flag, but I'm tired of seeing it if there's no actual action. Stop using it. Stop using the social media to do that. Stop using the blackout, Black Lives Matter. Stop using the equality and the love wins and the rainbow thing. If you're not going to do anything about it, just let it go. If you're not going to do it, just do it, and stop commercializing it and stop trying to capitalize on, people's pain and people's fight and people's struggle. I've looked into a couple of these companies that have posted in support of Black Lives Matter and has posted in support of Pride Month. And I'm not calling out names because this is not about me singling out a company and for them to get backlash. This is, by the way, public information. Anybody could search it out. So listeners, do your research. But truthfully, a lot of these companies, nothing has changed for them. They are still massive discriminatory practice against people of color. They are still silencing those who celebrate Pride and they can't speak up. So do your research, people, but companies, come on, step up. You don't have to be an expert. You don't even have to be the best, but you have to start somewhere. So beyond the post, and it's not a start anymore. Beyond that social media post, what are you actually doing to affect change? What are you actually doing to ensure that you are trying to end systemic racism and discriminatory practices from your organization. And if you're not planning on doing anything, at least have the common decency to not post anything to say that you're in support of this when you're not doing it. It is too painful. It is too painful to believe someone is an ally when they're not an ally. They're truly just trying to capitalize. So I know I got a little passionate. It's something that I'm quite passionate about. So that is it for me. I just really, truly want companies to step up. And for those of you who want to speak up and you're afraid to speak up because you're afraid that you could lose your job, I support you. I truly do understand because, you can't just go around losing your job. Y'all need an income, right? We all need an income. And for companies who are continuing to silence voices of color, voices of pride, you have to do better. You have to do better. We are not in this world alone. And our simple mission is to love each other. Our simple mission is to esteem each other higher than we esteem ourselves. What a glorious world it would be if, I'm not saying that, listen, I'm not naive to believe that there's going to be a kumbaya world, but I do believe that racial equality and equity is something that can be achieved. And like I said in an earlier podcast, sadly, maybe not in my lifetime, but it's something to work towards. Don't our children deserve more? Mine certainly does. Yours certainly does. Let's work towards a better future. You're not born with hate. Hate is something that has to be cultivated. Hate is something that, that has to be fed. It takes so much energy to hate. It takes so much energy to be unpleasant. Maybe just takes a lot of energy for me because I don't have time for that. Like, it's so much easier to smile and be happy. So as you are going out there and you are posting, and even if you're an individual, about Black Lives Matters and gay pride, please make sure you're not capitalizing on somebody else's pain. Actually do the work. It would be better if you did nothing at all and didn't post than to post about something and you do nothing at all. That's all I'm saying. I thank you guys for listening so much. I appreciate your time. I appreciate the time that you take to listen to this podcast. I appreciate each and every one of you guys. And hey, there might be times I'm talking about something you don't agree with. That's okay. I don't agree with everything that everybody I love talk about, but it is what it is, right? So I thank you so much for listening. This was such a personal episode for me. And I hope that you learned something from it. I hope that you were educated even a little. So I'm going to ask something of you guys. The Sit Down with Suzanne podcast. This is season 2. We'll be wrapping season 2 soon. We're going to take about a 2-month break soon. And then we'll be back in the fall. But don't worry, we have a couple more episodes ahead of us. So I'm going to ask that you listen to the podcast. There's so many different directories that we're in. We're in Amazon, Apple, Spotify, Pandora, Google, TuneIn, Stitcher, Deezer. I mean, there's just a plethora. So just go ahead. Listen to the podcast, please. Subscribe to the podcast, please. I would appreciate it. Write a review, share your feedback, send me emails at Suzanne@positivelysuzanne.com. And please go ahead and support the Sit Down with Suzanne podcast by buying me a coffee. So the link will be in the at the end of the podcast. So buy me a coffee. It's $5. You can buy me a coffee. It's not an actual coffee. It will allow me to upgrade my stuff and bring you better sounding audio. So please go ahead. I appreciate each and every one of you. So until next time, this is Suzanne signing off. This is Suzanne saying toodles.